beautiful people, and you're welcome back to this channel. Thank you so much for your support here on my channel. Today's tutorial shall be the making of a ball gown, and I have two colors for this ball gown we are making. So I'll be using this color black for the upper part, and I have my machine lining as well as my zip. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be using for the upper part, and the lower part shall be the pink color. So I'll be using pink color pink for the lower part. If I are to subscribe to this channel, please subscribe to my channel, like these videos, share with your family and friends, and then hit the button down there to get you an update as I will be uploading.
Okay, so I have my starting line here. Then I drew straight line 6.5 inches since she's a girl for a hammer line. So the back measurement we are working with is 11 inches, bust is 23, half length is 11.5, and the full length of the dress is 13 inches. Okay, so I chose 2.5 for the wideness of her neck. So 2.5 is good for the wideness of her neck. Then I measure 11.5 inches downward, and then I marked 0.5 for sewing allowance at the joining part at this side, 0.5 for joining allowance. Okay, all right. So what we are going to do now is to cut, and I've cut it. So I have front and back panel before me on my table. I added my zip allowance. Okay, so you can add any measurement for zip allowance. I just added 1/3, and I'm setting back panel aside, so I want to work on the front panel. So I'm placing the quarter of the bust measurements. Okay, so I'll just place the quarter. So the quarter of the bust measurement. So I'm going to mark it, and I'm adding sewing allowance and that allowance. Okay, so this is that allowance. I'm adding that allowance and then sewing allowance. Okay, so this is what I'm doing here. I hope you saw this. So I want to locate the midpoint from the hammer line. So since we have 6.5, so it's going to give me 3/1/4. Okay, so I'm going to cuff this 3/1/4. I'm cuffing my hammer on the point of 3/1/4. Okay, so this is what I'm marking here. All right, so the sorry, the depth of the neck for the front, so I chose 4 inches. I chose 3 inches, sorry. So this is 3 inches here. So I just marked 3 inches like that. So I'm placing the quarter of the waist measurement. So I will place the quarter of the waist measurement. I'm going to add that allowance, and I will add sewing allowance. Okay, so I'm placing my ruler to connect what I marked together. So I'm connecting it right here. Okay, I hope you see this. All right, and then I'm going to place it on the front back panel and cut it like so. So this is what I'm doing here. So I'm placing it, cutting the shoulder slope, and then to the bust and to the hammer line. So I'm cutting on my hammer line into the bust. Now I'm going to the waist. So what I'm doing here is this. So I want to mark 2 inches, or 1.5. I marked 1.5, sorry. 1.5 for the back depth. Okay. So I mark 1.5 and I'm going to cut on that point on 1.5, since I'm cutting both front and back panel together. So I'm cutting the zip allowance. Okay. So I'm going to cut the front depth. So this is what I'm trying to do here, cutting the front depth. All right, this is down part of the ball gown we are making. So I folded it into 4, okay, since we are cutting flare. This method is very simple. So I used this method, no calculation for this one. So just fold it into 4. So the waist measurement we are working with is 26 inches. Divided it by 4. I divided it by 4. So, and I added just 0.5 to it, so making 7 inches. So that shows I will be marking 7 inches at this point. So the half length we are working with is 11.5. Okay, so 11.5, and I have 30 inches for the full length. So that shows I'll be minusing 13 inches from this 11.5. So I'm going to mark what I have around the lower part of the dress. So from this side, I'm marking 7 inches. Okay, so this is what I'm placing. I'm marking here. So I'm marking this way. So I mark the other line in case the first one won't be enough for what I want to do. Okay. Alright guys, I marked 10 inches because I want small plating at the waistline. So I added 3 inches to the 7 inches I had before. Okay, so this is what I'm marking here. So this is 10 inches instead of me to mark 7 inches. And this edge is supposed to be 7.5. So this is what I'm correcting. So the two edges must be equal. Okay. So this is 10 inches because I want small plating around the waist. That's why I added 3 inches to it. Okay, so I'm placing the tape measure on that line I made. Okay, so to get the full length, so I added some inches. The joining allowance for the waist and the hem allowance for the down part. So this is what I'm doing here. Okay, so I will start connecting. I will start marking and I will connect. So this is what I'm doing here. Then I'm going to connect after this of marking. I'm going to connect after this marking. So I'm connecting it and then I'm going to cut it off. You know, I told you we have 4 layers at the lower part. Okay, so I'm cutting on the line I made. I will cut this and the 2 linings and the undergarment I used. Okay, this is what I have for the flare I cut. I hope you saw this. So this is what I have. Okay, I'm going to use this one to cut lining, undergarment, and the other lining. Okay, so the lining I'm going to use to turn it over. Okay, so this is what I want to do here. So I'll be cutting 2 linings and 1 undergarment. So this is what I will be cutting right here. Okay, so I placed this one on the table. Okay, so I'm going to mark where I want the measurement I want for the undergarment. So they must have the same waist measurement, but the length will be different. Okay, so I chose 17 inches for the undergarment. So this is what I'm marking on the main fabric. This is what I'm doing here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to just connect the dots I made together and start cutting. Okay, so this is what I'll be doing, and I will do the same thing to the 2 linings as well. So I've cut the waistline and I'm going to connect 17 inches together. Okay, so I will be placing the 17 inches. So I'm placing, and then I'm going to connect, then I will cut it off. Okay, so I'm cutting like so. I'm cutting the net. Okay, so this is the down part of the dress we are making. Okay, and this is the lining. We have 2 for this. We have 2 lining. You can still remember. So we have 2 lining, and this is the net we are using, and the other lining. Okay, so the other lining is going to cover the net so that it doesn't scratch the girl. So this is front panel, and I'm going to start cutting the lining for front panel. Okay, this is front panel and the lining. So here is the back panel, okay, with lining. So I already cut both front and back panel lining. So I want to show you. So I'm placing it for you to see. Okay, so this is what I'm doing here. Front and back panel lining is here on the table. Okay, so this is the down parts. Okay, so I'm going to join both upper part and the down part together. Okay, so I'll use my lining to turn the upper part. So this is front panel. So I used my lining to turn it, and then I notch the neck. Okay, I notched it. Can you see? So I notched the neck, and I use my needle and thread to brace it so that it will lay properly. Okay, so this is what I've done for the front panel, and here is the back panel placing on the front panel right here. So I turned the back panel with lining as well. Okay, so here is the front and back panel right here. So this style we are making is going to have belts. Sorry, it's going to have belt, and it's going to have band. So this is band. So I'll be needing 2.5 for the band. So I cut more than 2.5 because there will be pleating at that side. So I'm going to pleat the band. So that's why I cut excess. Okay, all right. So I will be marking 0.5 from waistline for joining of the lower part. I'm adding band and belt. Okay, so this is my belt. Okay, so this is belt. You can cut your desired measurement for the length of your belt and the wideness of your belt. So I chose 3 inches for the wideness of my belt. I have 2.5 for the band. So I want this belt and the band to be equal at the sides when I'm placing it. Okay, so that's why I cut 3 inches for the band. So I will use 0.5 to join the band. So it will remain 2.5. So it will be equal with the band. The band and the belt will be equal at the 2 sides. So this is what I'm trying to do. Okay. This is the band. So I've pleated it and I use my stitching to hold each line down. Okay, so I use the stitching to tie it down. Okay, so this is what I'm doing here. Okay, so I hope you saw this. Okay, I've joined one of the lower parts, the band and the belts. So I've joined them together. Okay, so and I'm still going to join the remaining layers. So I'll be joining the 2 linings as well as the net. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to fix the zip, and then we are through. I hope you like this dress. So this is how I'm going to sew it. I'm going to start from that edge and end it to the other edge. Okay, we have black at the upper part, so that's why I'll be using black material to cover it up. Okay, so I'll be using black at that point. So I'll start sewing this way, and I will sew the net, and then I'm going to use the black material to cover it up. Okay, I've joined the lining, so this is the upper part. So let me turn it for you to see. So I use this black lining to cover that side. So let me turn it for you. Oh my God, so this is beautiful dress we have been making. This is very, very lovely. This is beautiful. Okay, let me turn the back for you to see. Oh, this is the belt. So I'm going to knot this belt because she's going to rock our dress this way. This is very, very beautiful. This is very, very lovely. I hope you like this. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, share with your family and friends, and then hit the notification bell to get you an update as I will be uploading my new videos. And I will see you on my next tutorial. I love you all. Bye.